Day 46 of my writer's journey, and it's so nice to be outside here. And instead of walking, I just wanted to sit here and share with you some of the other things that I've done to help my book and to help the process of the book that are not writing. And the main topic that I would like to discuss with you is how I'm trying to build my YouTube channel. Now, the fact that you're watching this means that you have found my YouTube channel, and I'm very excited about this because I've managed some big channels in the past. My main channel, Father Roderick, is very big, at least when it comes to subscribers. It doesn't mean that today that results in every video being very successful, because the whole situation on YouTube has changed. Now it's much more about the individual quality of the video. So, but it was quite an interesting challenge to see if I could build up a YouTube channel around this writing process. And initially, as you know, I started with just posting simple updates every single day. Like, okay, so this is where I am in my writing process. Obviously, interesting for people who follow me and who like fantasy and maybe are also interested in writing or reading. But it's most of the people that watched those videos in the beginning were people that already followed me elsewhere. My big project was, of course, to find a whole new community of people that I engage with, that I form community with, so that by the time that my book, for instance, is past the first few drafts and is ready for the editing phase, I can find a street team of people that will read this book with me and suggest improvements, give their feedback. And so, but in order to find a good street team, I need to find ways to reach out to that target audience of mine. And so, what is this target audience? Well, obviously, it needs to be people that like reading fantasy. So that probably excludes a lot of my parishioners, for instance, because they like my storytelling, because they go to church and they hear my homilies, and usually I'm very focused on storytelling, but they're not going to read a fantasy book. Maybe if it was written in Dutch, they might give it a try, but not a chance that they'll sample an English book. But then, okay, so people that are interested in fantasy, what kind of genre am I actually writing? Maybe you actually know that better than I do. So I have dabbled a bit in Amazon KPD, because they have these lists of all the different subgenres of fantasy. And what I always wanted to do is to write a book that I would like to read myself. And it helped me to look at all these subgenres and pick out the ones that I know I love, because that makes it so much easier to write. And obviously the biggest category is epic fantasy, but it's also the category where there's the most competition. And I don't consider myself very knowledgeable when it comes to epic fantasy. I read, obviously, Lord of the Rings and a few books of the Wheel of Time series, but I'm not planning on writing epic fantasy. A genre that I really enjoy is the academia fantasy. So it's like people going to a magical school. Think Harry Potter, or there are a few other books in this genre, because I like the aspect of kind of the coming of age aspect of it, and also this whole idea of, there's a dog running around me, so that's why I'm a bit distracted. But I like the variety. There's usually classes, so you can introduce a lot of different characters, and it's kind of this imaginary world. If I could go back in time and choose another school instead of the ones that I was at, what would be my ideal magical school? So I like that. I also, for this particular story, I'm choosing kind of an historical background. So, but is that historical fiction? I don't think so. It's more historical fantasy, if that is a thing. I don't know. Is there a market for that? What I do know is in my book initially, I want to also appeal to the huge audiences nowadays that love romantasy. Now, obviously, I'm not going to write a book with lots of spice in it, and I've been reading Fourth Wing just to get an idea of what makes that book so popular. And it's helpful. It does. I mean, there's some pretty decent storytelling in there. There's also a lot in there that I don't like because I'm just not part of that target audience. But I'm still considering writing a romantic subplot because I think it's even for myself as a writer. I think I can learn from challenging myself to write a romantic subplot. Obviously, since I'm neither part of the target audience, nor am I an expert in terms of having experience with that. My only romantic experience dates back to primary school. That's about it. So, so anyway, what I think I'm trying to do right now with the channel is to go beyond just the writing updates, because that will only attract people that are interested in writing, and that's not a target audience that I want to completely discard. In fact, you may know that I'm also helping people with doing this kind of stuff. How do I get my message out? How do I build a community? So I do think that in the long run, after I've had the experience of at least writing one or two novels, I might be able to help other fellow writers that might struggle with this. How do I do that? How do I set up a YouTube channel? But my first, most important target audience is people that are likely to read my book. And so I'm contemplating this idea of doing more, not really book reviews, but to do takes on the books that I read or on books that I've read. And I'm still trying to find my voice. So you may have seen the two videos that I uploaded on Fourth Wing. One is more a general video that I recorded on Valentine's Day. The other one is more like it's about dialogue in Fourth Wing. So, and I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm looking, does this find new people? And do they stick around? Do they actually subscribe? And I think I'm going to do more of that. I do see some spikes when I talk about popular authors like Brandon Sanderson. That immediately triples or quadruples the people that watch the video. So I might want to lean in on that. Downside is, of course, I didn't read that much Brandon Sanderson. And now that I'm writing, I hardly find time. That's going to be a topic for the next video. It's like, how do I find time to read if I also have to find time to write? But maybe I can just take some elements from, let's say, Mistborn and some of the other books that I've read and maybe even from some of the online stuff that Brandon Sanderson posts, like his writing tips. And there may be ways in which I can do my own take on those topics as well. But the challenge is to kind of listen to my potential audience. What are they looking for, and what can I offer them? It's not about doing something completely out of character, of something that is not within my own sphere of interest, but what can I share that I'm getting excited about and that is interesting for potential readers of my novel. I really depend on your feedback. I so appreciate all the nice, encouraging comments, and also really substantial tips and the good advice that I get from so many of you. So please keep doing that, because it is so helpful. You have no idea how much that helps in both making myself write, but also learning very rapidly how to become a better writer. And if you have any ideas on how I can grow this channel, let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk tomorrow.